So Michigan and Texas coming up this weekend. You know, it's funny. Leading up to the season, whenever we previewed Michigan, I kind of say, and I hate being broken record stuff, but you're like, okay, one of the big storylines here is, can the defense keep Michigan in games while the offense gets up to speed? Can the defense carry the day while the offense goes through its growing pains? Can the defense do the job while the offense is learning? And I think last Saturday was an exact, tangible example of what that looks like. Can the defense keep them? You know, they held Fresno to 10 points. Their one touchdown drive came when Michigan had a number of, they got down on the depth chart a little bit, but they did give up the drive. But they held them to 10 points. And the offense, funny thing about the offense is I think people came away very concerned about the Michigan offense. Michigan's last 6 drives were 11 plays, 10 plays, 9 plays, 9 plays, 7 plays, 75 yards, and a touchdown. They put together drives. They just weren't finishing drives, which is part of what you hope is a growth curve, that as you get better, you finish those drives. And as the game went on, their offensive drives were better. But this is obviously a much bigger task. You know, we talked about how they fully believe it's real easy to get better on the offensive line because the mistakes were somewhat rudimentary and things they didn't know were going to happen until they actually got in there with live bullets. But so now they're in a game. They see what some of the issues are, and everybody I talk to that knows about line play says they are easily correctable. And the biggest jump comes from week 1 to week 2. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to beat Texas, because Texas, same thing. They know what to correct to, and they'll make a big jump forward. Texas's speed on the outside is scary, but so was Washington's, and so was Alabama's last year. And the secondary is many of the same people. Jair Hill looked really good in his first start at the corner opposite, but their speed is scary. Their quarterback is really good, Quinn Ewers. Their running backs, it doesn't look like they lost a step, even though these guys were down on the depth chart. So, you know, they're legit. And their defensive front is big and physical. They got a middle linebacker that looks like a defensive tackle, number 0. He's incredible. And their secondary's good. So Michigan's going to have to play incredibly well on defense and win the special teams battle, is my opinion, what they need to do.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough for Michigan. I mean, Texas, look, this is one of the blue bloods of football. So they're going to have depth. They're going to have high-end talent, and they have both. And for Michigan, they haven't had an opponent like this early in the season since 2018. They started the season at Notre Dame, lost that game, and then won the next 10 games in a row or whatever it was before losing big at Ohio State. But it's been a while since they played somebody like this early. And, you know, is Texas battle-tested already? Not really, you know, but they did what they had to do last week, and they look good doing it. Everybody knew their offense was going to be good. Everyone knows Michigan's defense is going to be good. This is one of these classic matchups, right? Great offense against a great defense. You know,
and the theory is defenses are going to look at Michigan and just say, we just need to take away Colston Loveland. And the Michigan people insist, if they pay too much attention to Colston, we have other guys that can burn you. They didn't really show much of a downfield passing attack in game 1. I mean, it might make sense to come out just slinging it and try and loosen up the defense. Take your shots, even if they're incomplete. Take some shots downfield. But, you know, I mean, when I brought it up, you know, Davis Warren said this week, yeah, our defense all fall camp tried to take away Colston Loveland. And we have a pretty good defense, and I could still get him the football. So they think he can still be effective even if he becomes a focal point of the Texas defense. Here's a question I have for Michigan fans, and maybe this is an easy answer. Does Kalel Mullings, in your eyes, clearly get the first shot, or do you go with big game Donovan Edwards, who always seems to, I shouldn't say always, it's not always, but Penn State last year, Ohio State, 2 years ago, Penn State, Ohio State 2 years ago, Penn State last season, Washington last season. He has a propensity to show up in big games. And he's got the physical tools, but, you know, there's this weird thing where he's can't seem to break off the mid-range run. He's either going to the house or it's 1 or 2 yards. But there's not enough 5 to 7 yard runs where Kalel Mullings has a bunch of those. But do you give big game Donovan the first crack at it, or do you go with Kalel Mullings?